last time on Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
If you ladies leave my island, if you survive recruit training, you will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death praying for war. There is no racial bigotry here. I do not look down on niggers, kites, wops, or greasers. Here you are all equally worthless. What's your name, scumbag?
Sir, Private Brown, sir!
Bullshit. From now on, you're Private Snowball. Do you like that name?
Sir, yes, sir!
Well, there's one thing that you won't like, Private Snowball. They don't serve fried chicken and watermelon on a daily basis in my mess hall.
How tall are you, Private?
Sir, 5'9", sir!
5'9". I didn't know they stacked shit that high.
Game on, yes, game on. Come on, you better play your cards right. Come on and get your game on.
Welcome back, Slackers, to the finale of Dubs. Not much to say, really. I'm enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! GX for the first time. It's really good. They finally hired good writers. I also want to do this fast because it's starting to get really warm where I am, and this room gets really fucking hot. It's been some time after everyone came back, sans Jesse and Adrian. Bonaparte is able to make up with Marcel for always being away, which is what isolated Marcel, giving him that darkness that let Yubel possess him. And everyone else has been recovering, except for Jaden. He's been feeling really depressed and mopey because he couldn't save Jesse. And then we get backstory for Jaden as to why Shepard has been watching him since freshman year. As a kid, Jaden always had an affinity for duel spirits, particularly with a special card he got from his dad, Yubel. But Yubel was kinda too attached to Jaden, and when he played her, his friends would always fall into comas or get injured, causing people to avoid him. So during that Kybercorp contest, when he sent the Neo-Spatian designs up, he sent Yubel up there too in a different satellite pod thing, because they say Jaden thought the cosmic magic that made the Neos cards would help Yubel.
He loved that card so much he could never get rid of it. Instead, he hoped the cosmic infusion would make her safe to use. Which makes no sense. Jaden didn't know about that at the time. He just entered an art contest. Eavesdropping on this conversation are Aster and Zane, with Zane clutching his heart in pain and mentioning this Yubel would make for a great final duel. That's when suddenly an anomaly occurs at that Gravekeeper site, you know, from the first season. Do you remember that? And a wormhole to another dimension is opening up. Winged Kribo tells Jaden about it, who tries to go in there alone to save Jesse, since he thinks Yubel is his problem and he needs to settle it alone. But of course, friendship won't let that happen, as Chaz, Alexis, Hasselberry, Axel, and Jim want to go with him, while Cyrus, Bastion, and Atticus are more apprehensive to Dimension Hop. But by summoning their monsters and generating dual energy, they open the portal to the new world, which gets so big, it sucks up everyone nearby, including Zane, Aster, Dr. Crowler, and Echo. So if I hadn't made it clear, I love the fact so many things from past seasons that were just there are actually being implemented into the story. But before you uber nerds start going, see, this was all set up for this, you were shitting on the show for no reason, it was all planned. There's no way you can tell me in all seriousness in season 1, when they wrote the Wheeler the Monkey episode, they thought that the villain in season 3 would use the lab for evil. No, this is similar to what American comic books do when they rework stories, take things that were useless or bad from back in the day and make them actually cool. So no, I won't let you weebs feel justified that the series was setting up for all this all along. It wasn't, they just got good writers to fix the mess that season 1 and 2 made. You will never convince me any of this was planned from the start. Anyway, the gang make it there with Jaden immediately trying to run off and save Jesse on his own, where they run into Tanya, the Shadow Rider. She says she was brought here because an anomaly like the one they went through opened up in her dimension, sending her here. I thought she was a tiger. She shows them that this world is also filled with duel monsters, and the artist formerly known as Harpy's brother, I will never call him Sky Scout, is controlling them. Seeing this injustice, Jaden challenges him to a duel, of course, but Tanya tells Jaden that in this world, running out of life points is taken literally, as you die, or as the dub puts it, you get sent to the stars.
But Jaden, when you do battle in this world, the damage you take is for real. Once your life points fall to 0, then it's game over. And you get sent away, straight to the stars.
To the stars?
What was wrong with Shadow Realm? Did it not have that je ne sais quoi, as Bonaparte would say? Jaden beats Harpy's brother, and before he goes, he tells Jaden that in order to stop these injustices for good, he must defeat the Supreme King, the ruler of this world.
Please, do all you can to defeat him. All of this is his doing. Promise me, you will defeat the Supreme King. It is you who should rule this world. You must be king.
Me a king?
With that, Jaden goes to meet up with everyone, while Bastion stays behind with Tanya to study about this world. Yeah, we all believe that, Bastion. That's why you're staying with Tanya. Bro misses getting stepped on, and you know what? I respect it. After meeting up again, everyone makes it to the surface, and Jim sees a comet in the sky that makes him act all weird for a second. Don't know what that's about. Just then, Jaden sees a kid being chased by a monster, and again, rather impulsively, runs after him and tries to save the kid by dueling the monster, saying he won't let any of his friends duel because he's worried they would be sent to the stars.
I'll take him down for you, Sarge. He don't scare me.
Stay back! I can't let you duel. It's too dangerous.
Jaden makes quick work of this guy, and they meet Sir Freed, a knight, who takes them to his people, who are also from another dimension sent here one day. And the monster they've been fighting are part of the Dark Army, also come from their dimension. Wait, Dark Army, that's an actual thing in Oh no, are we bringing actual Yu-Gi-Oh card lore into this? Yeah, for those that don't know, the cards in Yu-Gi-Oh have their own lore separate from the anime. I refuse to speak any more on it because I'm not trying to make this video 5 hours long. And for the record, I know there's like a little anime shorts coming out about all that card lore stuff. Not covering that in this retrospective. Not doing it. I'm not even touching that. When Jaden sees Jesse isn't with the refugees, he's ready to leave, but Freed tells them to wait for the comet to pass. That's when the monsters leave, because leaving right now could expose their hiding place. Later though, a prisoner of the Dark Army escapes and makes it to the refugees, and when he mentions someone who looks like Jesse was there, Jaden sneaks off on his own to save him. Everyone goes after him except for Jim and Axel, who are a bit slow at leaving. Everyone leaving though compromises the hidey hole, so Freed decides to use Jaden as a decoy, but that boy Jaden saved convinces him to go help and be a hero. Jaden makes it to the camp but sees that the guy there isn't Jesse, it's someone who looks like him. But this prisoner tells him that all the other ones were taken to another camp. Well, that sucks. That's when a knight of the Dark Army commanding this camp, Zur, sends this man to the stars. I don't know, it just doesn't have the same ring. He was sent to the Shadow Realm. Jaden duels him to get revenge for the man, and Zur says he realizes who Jaden really is.
This boy is unlike other humans. I have only witnessed energy like this once before in his presence. Could it be that this boy is similar to...
To make things worse, his friends get captured, and Jaden almost loses until Freed shows up and turns into a card for Jaden to use, helping him win the duel. But when Zur dies, he releases 5 orbs that get absorbed by the characters who don't matter anymore. For not keeping up with that, it's the Wrecker of Witchcrafters, the Chaz, my wife, Zane's younger brother, Not Rex Raptor, and Sonic. You know, the old lame characters, not as cool as our new shiny characters. That's not just me saying that, even the show itself has no use for these characters anymore, so it just deletes them. Because afterward, Jaden once again goes off on his own and everyone starts to realize he's being kind of a douche. Always running off on his own and not even asking anyone's opinion on what to do, and worst of all, he doesn't even believe in any of them to protect themselves. We see more of this when Jaden finds some ducks they can ride and he sets off on his own again to find Jesse. Trying to follow him, Chaz's wife, Rex Raptor, and Sonic all get lost and are captured by some denizens of the Dark World. Cyrus gets lost too, but it's because his duck went off on its own. Jaden arrives at a castle, and Jim and Axel are the only ones who kept up, and they leave to find the others and tell Jaden, "Bro, for real, don't go into the Dark Castle of Evil without us, okay? Just chill, bro, it's fine." Jaden immediately goes into the castle because he's an animal of instinct, and it's always worked for him so far. In the castle, he meets Braun, the Mad King of Dark World, who says, "You want to know about Jesse? Duel me, scrub." That's when he uses an anime card, Wicked Cannon, and shows Jay that he may not have Jesse, but he's got his other friends, the ones that went missing. And every time Jaden destroys Braun's monster, that white stuff that went inside of them, phrasing, activates, causing one of their emotions to erupt and berate Jaden for his actions. Like Chaz gets angry at Jaden, and is then absorbed along with Ojama Black and Green. That's right, Jaden killed my goat, the xenophobic of Xyz unit of extra heroes. There's not a lot of X Yu-Gi-Oh cards or titles, okay? The reason Braun is doing this is because by sacrificing a bunch of souls, he'll be able to create a mysterious and powerful card called Super Polymerization. Sounds meta. As the duel continues, Jaden tries not to attack, but is forced to by Braun's card, causing Hasselberry to hate Jaden, Alexis to feel sad about how he's acting, and Sonic to feel anguish. That's what the emotions they tell me they are, I guess. And they all get got. And seeing his friends die in front of him is the last straw, and Jaden snaps, beating Braun by using his rage, with Braun fading away, saying that Jesse and Freed's people who he left were sent to the Shadow Realm in the stars. So now Jaden vows vengeance on these evil monsters, and watching all this is Cyrus, who came back after Jim and Axel found him, and Cyrus gives him the business, telling Jaden what a tool he's been, and leaves with Jim and Axel following.
Why is this happening to me? I was just trying to make things right. And I ended up making things wrong for everyone. Ah! How am I ever gonna make things right again?
Now alone and filled with hate, Jaden gets the incomplete Super Poly card, and sees a vision of the Supreme King, who tempts Jaden with the one thing he's wanted this whole time: power. Okay, let's talk about this. So yeah, this is the one thing I don't like about this season. If you can't tell, I don't like that the 4 Gooners who have been here since season 1, sans Hasselberry, are gone. And yes, I mean that. They do not show up the rest of this season. Well, they show up like a little bit once. And that sucks, because if you haven't noticed, they haven't fucking done anything. Not to say they weren't useful here or there, but anything that was done by all these new guys could have been done by any of them. Like in the monster world, going with Jaden to the sub. They could have done that, dueling those monsters for food. It should have been them, not these newbies. Because if you haven't noticed, all the OGs have barely dueled at all. Atticus doesn't duel this season. Bastion doesn't duel. Cyrus doesn't duel. Alexis, the main girl, does not duel this season. Hasselberry sort of dueled, but he was under the influence at that time. The only full duel we had by a previous main character was Chaz, and he lost that to the new guy. And this unfortunately is a problem that continues on into other Yu-Gi-Oh series with varying degrees. The blatant disregard of old characters who could have been perfectly useful in these situations that a bunch of new characters they made up are involved in, but would have meant more because we actually know the old characters instead of these newbies we had like maybe a couple episodes to get to know. Now don't get me wrong, I like these new characters. I like Jesse, Jim and Axel are cool. I also like the decks they play. And Adrian is a good double-faced character to have around. But imagine them replaced with any other character. Imagine if Jesse was Cyrus, Jaden's first friend at the academy, his actual best friend who was taken by Ubel being jealous. I'd be more invested in that because I'm invested in Cyrus's growth and as a character, and I've known him since the beginning, like Jaden. Speaking of Cyrus, he's going through it as he goes off on his own, running into Ojama Yellow, who survived the sucking, I guess? Is that what we call it? And Cyrus, running nothing to do with Jaden, throws away his dual disc, which is dumb because there are monsters here and he needs to defend himself. And he immediately gets attacked by a monster where they can't defend himself from. Luckily, he's saved by Zane, who finds him and does at least thank Cyrus for trying to save him last season. At least that moment kind of mattered, I guess.
You stood up to me that day, and now you'll have to do the same thing with Jaden. You're gonna have to use that same strength to get him back.
And Zane meets back up with Aster, because the two are wandering around this world on their own for now. As Zane again says he has little time and needs to find Ubel for a certain reason. And Cyrus finally realizes he needs to be there for Jaden like he was for Zane, because it seems like everyone's becoming emo in the series, and sheds that spirit of doubt that was in him, which is, again, is what they told me that emotion is, because he says he needs to be by his Nakama. This would be a great moment for Cyrus, if it weren't for the fact that Cyrus does nothing to help Jaden, because guess what? Anything involving Jaden and helping him is going to be delegated to a new character. Let's catch up with these new characters, Jim and Axel. They're on their own too, trying to figure out more about this world, and how to leave, and a possible way to save their friends. Including Jaden, they haven't given up on him either. They get info from some NPCs, and if any of their friends are duelists, the Supreme King's been going around beating every duelist, so they're probably already dead. This is also kind of a Jim episode, where we see some flashbacks to his childhood, how he met Shirley, and even knows there's some good left in Jaden, because he was able to beat her, which no one else could but him. So the two go to the Supreme King's keep and find some jobber monster scientist, who says all the duelists are dead, sacrificed to complete the ultimate card, and the king has gone to gather the last of those souls. Well, okay, I've been saying souls, but it's also dual energy at the same time. I feel like the show's been interchangeably using them. I can't verify that, but souls, dual energy, it's the same thing, you know? Jim easily beats him, acting all cool, and see the village of people they found burned down and Shadow Realm sent to the stars. Same thing. So Jim, in anger, chases after the army and confronts the Supreme King, who removes his visor, revealing the Supreme King is Jaden? So to snap him out of it, Jim duels him, and okay, so the comet in the sky that's been showing up, it is triggering Jim's covered eye. The Eye of the Orichalcum, which he got years ago after saving Shirley from some bear trap or whatever, and some weird old guy was like, oh, you're destined to do some freaky shit with that thing, kid. And I guess he was talking about this. As the eye is kinda like a Millennium item, allowing Jim to peer into Jaden's soul, where we see Jaden is, yeah, kinda depressed he got most of his friends killed by doing what he's always been doing, and is having trouble coming to terms with the fact his strengths in the past might be a flaw now. Jim and Axel almost get through to him, but fail. What's more, Supreme King-kun uses the new shiny super polymerization he got from gathering all those juicy souls, using it to defeat Jim, as him and even Shirley for some reason fade away. And Axel, left behind, realizing he has to face the king, runs in fear, like a bitch. Meanwhile, Zane and Aster are gathering info from monsters and find out that Jaden is the Supreme King. Axel, meanwhile, is losing his shit, I don't know why specifically, nothing really special happened during Jim and Evil Jaden's duel, besides him using Super Poly. He does also leave behind his duel disc when having nightmares, and for fuck's sake, you, Cyrus, there's being scared or stubborn. Don't leave your only form of defense behind. I don't care how they feel, it's dumb. Like, yeah, you don't want anything to do with dueling, I get it, but like, you kinda have to do it to survive. Regardless, he meets up with Cyrus, and Axel asks him, Cyrus, if you're here and fine, why aren't you doing anything? And Cyrus says, because of how Jaden was acting, he's deciding to manipulate things behind the scenes? I thought you said you were gonna help him, Cyrus? This is not helping him? Well, Axel will, I guess, getting his disc back. He comes across the last stronghold for all of the last people untouched by bad Jaden. And when he discovers the one leading them is secretly working for the king, so he can open their defenses for the army, he challenges the Skull Knight to a duel. Okay, I will admit that it's kind of cool, a lot of the monsters in the Dark King's army are like old Duel Monsters cards. That's kind of neat, I guess. Axel wins, it was not hard, and when he tells everyone about the betrayal, Aster and Zane arrive with a bunch of prisoners that they freed a while ago. With new allies and some new courage, Axel wants to attack the Supreme King and thinks he can reach out to Jaden if they can find some proof that Jesse is alive, since it's the main thing he's here for. So a fairy monster decides to ask around while Axel, Aster, and Zane go to the castle, where Zane and Aster distract the king's lackeys while Axel goes to challenge the king. Meanwhile, Cyrus, who's still with Ojama Yellow, are back at the village, stronghold thing, and the fairy is literally asking everyone, including Ojama Yellow, if they've seen Jesse, and Ojama, being a horny idiot, tries to impress her by saying yes, even though he didn't.
Ojama!
Why, hello there. It seems our paths keep crossing.
And hearing that... Axel is at the castle, Cyrus goes there too. Zane and Aster win their duels and see at the throne room Axel is barely holding on, until Cyrus and Ojama arrive and he tells him about seeing Jesse, which gives Axel, along with the Eye of Orichalcum powers, to break through to Jaden, as Axel is able to end it in a draw, but saves Jaden, but Axel is sent to the Shadow Realm into the stars, as the Supreme King's army flees after his defeat, and the remaining cast leave the castle with Jaden. And when resting far away, Ojama remembers he actually did see Jesse. He is alive, but something was kinda off about him. Okay, see what I mean? Wouldn't freeing Jaden from being the Supreme King been way cooler if it was anyone else but Axel? Why is he the one that breaks Jaden out of his evil phase? Why not someone Jaden knows a bit more personally? Like, Cyrus. He's right fucking there. You know, a character that Jaden and us, the audience, have gotten to know over the course of several years. You can also honestly replace Jim with Hasselberry. Again, I like these new characters, but they could not exist. You can replace them easily. I mean, we literally just got their backstories right before they bite it. I didn't even mention Axel's, well, we get most of it later on, but you know what I mean. With the already established characters, we wouldn't need these backstories and Orichalcum eyes. Just have them get Jaden back with friendship. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! That's kind of its thing. I don't think anyone watching this would have been like, wow, I can't believe they brought Jaden back with friendship. How unrealistic. I understand this is a nitpick, because again, this season is good. I mean, I'm describing way more of the story because way more is happening and it's actually entertaining. But seeing them invent these new characters for no reason is kind of annoying because the other characters I grew to like are getting shafted. Why does no one talk about Chumley anymore? And some of them I don't even care about, like Adrian. Yeah, he's here too, and knows Yubel is around and he wants that ultimate power he was promised. He's got a form of it though in, ooh, the original Japanese Exodia pieces. Rare Mistake 2, the dub kept the original Japanese cards in the anime. I think it's the first time that's happened. It's the first time I noticed anyway. Adrian wants power behind some door because he knows he needs to beat Yubel to rule this world, but needs dual energy, a lot of it, and even has Yubel's arm, showing he's already got some new tricks. Meanwhile, Jaden wakes up and the gang are like, oh yeah, you became evil and killed a bunch of people, including Jim and Axel, but welcome back, bud. They do tell him Jesse is alive, and all this causes him to pass out again. After checking Jaden's deck, notices he still has a Super Poly in it, and decides to help Jaden find Jesse since he helped him when he saved Sartorius. Just then, they all get stumbled upon by Crowler and Echo. Yeah, they're here too, remember? And then that night, Adrian uses his Yubel arm powers to transport everyone to the cave he's in, and says straight up, yeah, Echo, I'm gonna need to sacrifice you for power.
Don't you want the best for me, Echo? I can't do it alone. Without you, I can't achieve greatness. I need you. Won't you help? You see, I must have all your dual energy, Echo, in order to be king.
Aster, not liking that, steps in to duel him, and this is a mistake, because Adrian uses Ritual of the Ultimate Forbidden Lord, a card so powerful it needs a specific sacrifice. You need to sacrifice someone you love, and there's no one closer to him than Echo, who, surprising everyone, willingly steps up to sacrifice herself, allowing him to summon Exodius, the ultimate Forbidden Lord. Just gave this guy all the titles. Aster asks how he can sacrifice someone he claims to love, but Adrian doesn't respond. And Jaden starts seeing that Adrian is kind of like him, sacrificing anything for power. Enough power to beat Aster as he fades into the realm of star shadows, as the Exodia power frees Adrian from the Yubel arm, giving him true freedom and power. And rubs salt in the wound, he calls Jaden a bitch as he pieces out an Exodia. Cool, I mean, what an asshole. And again, I don't care about Adrian. I like when he was a two-faced plant in the Monster World arc, and what they have here with him doing something so despicable but is so determined and feels so justified in what he's doing and knowing that this is the only way he can achieve what he wants, that he's not really evil, he's fully aware what he's doing is basically murder, and he's come to terms with that. It's really mature and nuanced for Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably the most complicated character in this whole series. But again, how much better would this be if this was someone we knew already? What if it was Zane who went so far, sacrificing Cyrus or something, or even Chaz? He's the rich boy, I guess, to Gecko's rich boy, and he did this to Alexis or something. Yeah, that might be too far for those characters, but considering this season and how dark it gets, why not? Later, the gang is kind of wandering around following Jaden, who's trying to find Jesse, and Zane finally calls him out and challenges him to a duel, where we see Jaden has fusion PTSD from his time as the Supreme King, and Zane kinda spits facts at him.
Do you know what you are, Jaden? A shadow of the duelist you once were!
And I will say this, Jaden's VO is doing a great job. He's way more subdued and is really bringing through Jaden's anguish.
Sorry, but you were right, Zane. I'm not ready. Now, I'm too afraid. Too afraid I won't be able to control it. That it matters. I summon Elemental Hero Burstinatrix. And she'll attack your fiend slime mole.
Zane's so pissed he's actually gonna finish Jaden off, but his heart acts up. As it turns out, all the underground dueling has affected his heart, and he's dying. Yeah, Zane is practically a dead man walking. He's been looking for an opponent to face him for his final duel, which is why he wants Yubel, who seems to be the only one capable of giving him a proper send-off. Jaden gets demoralized again and wanders off again, with Cyrus and Ojama following him, where he ends up at Bronze Keep, where he's ambushed by Bao, the last of the Supreme King's homies, who is here because he sees Jaden as weak and wants to wipe him out, so he can get the power of the Supreme King. Jaden accepts, expecting to lose because he thinks dying here will atone for his sins. Okay, let's talk about this now. Yes, Jaden's development this season is amazing. I don't like it. I said at the beginning, I like that Jaden was fun, always smiling, kinda cocky, even during bad moments. And I think fans interpret this as he doesn't take anything seriously, which is not true. He took plenty seriously all the time. It just wasn't to the extent of Yugi, I guess, so it was bad. But to me, that's great. No matter how bad the situation was, you know, at the end of the day, he'd always be happy, smiling, being the same he was, you know, hanging out with his friends, chilling out with the crew in the schoolyard. I don't want to see him be suicidal. Yeah, him getting development is great. I love that, obviously, but I think this is a bit too much. And I feel like this is a direct response to criticisms Jaden got in the past 2 seasons. And all they had to do was give more time to other characters and not make him look invincible. That was the problem, not that he was happy. As me personally, I think that makes for a way cooler and more interesting main character, someone that even through after all this bullshit can just end up smiling and having a good time at the end of the day. I mean, spoilers, they kind of do this concept in the later Yu-Gi-Oh series, and I think they do it way better. I feel the same way toward this season as I did towards Season 3 of Digimon. I like all the dark new aspects in writing and direction. It's just not for me though. I don't come to Yu-Gi-Oh to be depressed and watch characters I like die in fucked up ways. I come to watch children's card games and friendship. I said it with Tamers and I'll say it now. Darker does not equal better. I mean, it does in this case, but that's because the past 2 seasons of GX were shit. But for Jaden, I don't like how he is after this. And this one's a bit more minor, but another thing about the season that kind of rubs me the wrong way is the music. I mentioned it last time toward the end where, you know, you hear the rock guitars and shit during all this sad shit. But honestly, even hearing the theme song before each episode feels so weird. Because, you know, you just hear the tough times, hard climbs, we'll take it on together, and then you have Jaden talking about how he wants to off himself.
Tough times, hard climbs, we'll take 'em on together. Maybe this is my punishment. Maybe it's time I join all the friends that I've let down and get sent to the stars myself. Game on, yes, game on.
Anyway, Jaden does win without using polymerization, but Bao points out the Supreme King is still in there, which might be a good thing, as Bastion and Tanya are done banging, I guess, and show up telling them Bastion figured something out, that this place is made up of 12 dimensions united under one power, Yubel, and to send everyone back they need to beat Yubel, who is stronger than ever, and they need the Supreme King's power to do so. So Jaden needs to learn to control it, whether he wants to or not, if they all want to survive. Meanwhile, Zane with Crowler is about to keel over, as Crowler tries to help him. Who appears? But Jesse. Except he's not himself, he's possessed by Yubel.
Never you mind, Zane. A new day dawns.
Does it really?
Before long, the fabric of all things will be undone, then rewoven, so that all dimensions will become one. The Great Eye will see all! Ha ha ha!
But Zane doesn't care who it is. He decides possessed Jesse will be his final opponent. And despite Yubel amping up Jesse's crystal beast with dark powers, making them advanced, kind of like what they did with the Game Boy, Zane puts up a great fight, dueling with all of his strength, and says he realized that when his life was ending, he dueled many people from around the world, but forgot to have fun. So that's what he wanted for his last duel, to duel an opponent so strong that he'd have the best time of his life.
Looking back, I realized I had all the glory, but I missed out on having any of the fun. So if this is the last duel I ever take part in, I can guarantee that whether I win or lose, I'm going to enjoy every last move.
But Yubel counters Zane's final attack, who loses due to the effects of his Power Bond card, fading away. Witnessing all this are the remaining characters, including Jaden, who of course is taunted by Yubel, to come end this, as Jaden seems to now know what needs to be done after watching Zane's duel. We even see a change as he waits for his friends to be ready, no longer running off on his own. Which is good, because I bet Cyrus is super broken up about this. I bet he'll have a whole episode about it, and he'll be crying a lot. And, oh no, he's fine about it after like one episode. Cool. Just watch his brother die right in front of him, and it's like... Bastion and Tanya stay behind to bury Zane's duel disc as Jaden heads to face Yubel with Cyrus, Crowler, Wing Karibo, and Ojama joining him. I know that's weird I just brought up Wing Karibo, but I figured it's kind of been showing up a lot recently. I guess it's part of the main cast now. Yubel is heading back to her tower to heal because Zane did cause her to use a lot of energy, more than she expected, and finds Adrian there waiting for her. Which is convenient for her, because remember, she feeds on darkness, and considering the fucked up stuff Adrian did, he's pretty dark. But during the duel, Yubel sees there's no darkness coming from Adrian. He's just kind of fine. That's because when he rules this world, he wants to create a world free of all the evils like hate, pain, suffering. He truly believes what he's doing is just, and everything he's done, including sacrificing Echo, were so bad, he needs to succeed. He conquered the darkness in his heart by simply pushing it away. Adrian Gecko is a Kingdom Hearts character, and it looks like he's about to win since Yubel can't recover if no darkness. But that's when Echo's soul arrives to protect Adrian, and she has not done a whole gymnastics leap of logic like Adrian did to get rid of her darkness. She's black as fuck, allowing Yubel to get enough energy to summon herself. And I'm sure anyone playing the meta in recent times is sick of this card, but using herself, Yubel wins and Adrian goes bye-bye. Again, I'm not super into Adrian as a character, but man, the layers on this guy. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Afterward, Jaden finally arrives, seeing Adrian's duel disc, and figures out what happened. He challenges Yubel to a duel, and Yubel specifically, saying to let Jesse go. She refuses, of course, and Jaden is hesitant to duel because winning could cause Jesse to die instead of Yubel, but his duel spirits encourage him, and he begins the final duel. And we see immediately Jaden's new resolve, as despite what's happened, he uses polymerization again, allowing him to fight at his full strength.
I have to be that brave too. I can't be scared anymore. Here goes. I activate polymerization. My poor friends. I can't do this. Not again. No, I won't back down. I won't blame myself because it wasn't my fault. And I still have a chance to make everything right.
And through the duel, Jaden somehow deduces Jesse's soul is too powerful for Yubel to just erase, so she must be holding it somewhere. And he's right, she stored Jesse's soul in the Rainbow Dragon, now the Rainbow Dark Dragon. Then Jaden draws the worst card for him, Super Polymerization, but realizes despite what it did, what he did, and what it could do, this one card that's the cause of all his suffering is the thing that's going to help him save his friends.
Yet after everything I did, my friends stayed by my side and tried all they could to help me right the wrongs I caused, to help me find my way. No, you have to be brave, Jay. Don't be afraid. You've got to conquer your fear of the past if you ever want to move forward. You have to use super polymerization to free Jesse, no matter what the risk. Know why? Because you've got a friend to save.
And he manages to use the card, fusing his Neos and Rainbow Dragon to summon Rainbow Neos. Which, yes, I love that card. Which frees Jessie from Yubel, forcing her to reveal her true form again. But this was all according to Keikaku, as she uses Last Trick to steal Super Poly from Jaden.
Unless you played the spell card last trick.
Because yes, she manipulated things to get Jaden to become the Supreme King to finish this card so she can use it to beat him. Yeah, I totally believe she planned all that. And she ends the duel in the draw, causing no one to lose, and now she kinda has everything. She pretty much won. Jaden says, let's stop fucking around, you Belle, and end this. And she of course says they can end it in one last duel. Jesse, being too weak to go, gives Jaden his deck to use, with Crowler staying behind as Jaden goes to face Yubel with Cyrus and Yellow following. And here it is, folks. This was longer than I expected, but we are finally here. The season finale of GX Season 3. The finale of the English dub. As Yubel calls Jaden a hypocrite for sending her away into space, as up there, she was exposed to the light of destruction, which gave her all this power, and Jaden points out it also warped her mind. To the point she tried to reach out to Jaden, but that gave him nightmares as a kid, which caused his parents to give him medical treatments, which is why he forgot about Yubel. So this caused Yubel, affected by the light, to think this abandonment and loneliness was Jaden's form of friendship, which is why she's like this. And yeah, I think Yubel is actually a really cool antagonist. In the OG Japanese, she talks about love instead of friendship, and is even more fucked up in the head. Again, it's nice to have a character with layers in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not used to it, but it's awesome, I think. The duel begins, and it goes fine at first, until Yubel makes Jaden suffer through what a lot of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have been, by summoning herself and starting the Yubel engine for more powered up versions of herself. Luckily, Jaden gets a boost when Cyrus and Ojama say they found Chaz and everyone. They are still alive in a bubble, and he can save them if he beats Yubel. Armed with his new hope, Jaden decides to stop holding back, and decides, like what Bastion told him, as it's him and the Supreme King are the same, he needs to accept it, which allows him to use the power while being in complete control. He's also conquered his darkness. And seeing that Jaden will never see things her way, Yubel decides her goal now is to use super polymerization to fuse all the dimensions, effectively destroying them, but uniting Jaden and her together, forever. And Yubel continues the engine and uses her powers to show the past. As we see in a past life, Jaden was a prince in a faraway kingdom. Okay, GX, where are we going with this? Apparently to Stupid Town. Because also here is Yubel, who is a dude this whole time? Or wait, did I just assume Yubel was a woman because of the voice? I mean, they have boobies. Great, I'm gonna get canceled for misgendering a Yu-Gi-Oh character. Weird, that's how my dad said I'd always go out. So the king dad of Jaden in the past tells Yubel to protect Jaden, causing them to wear armor, turning them into the Yubel we know now, as they both promise to always be by each other's side. Why is this here? Did they think, oh, it's Yu-Gi-Oh, it's gotta have some connection to a past royal figure and be about destiny or some bullshit? This is completely unnecessary and kinda undermines a lot, knowing Jaden and Yubel were destined to be together. Just ignore this. I do, it's barely brought up again anyway. This revelation changes Jaden's demeanor, and he tells Cyrus to tell everyone he's sorry for what he did, but he has to save Yubel, almost like he's not coming back.
You gotta trust me. I mean, I hear you. I really want to go chill at Duel Academy, but I can't. Not now. I've got to help an old friend. I've got to help Yubel. Later, bro.
And when Yubel activates Super Poly to fuse the dimensions, he uses some janky card combo to force the fusion material to change to him and Yubel, where he collapses after all the dueling as Yubel embraces him, and the two are fused, and the connection between the dimensions fades as Yubel fuses with Jaden. And everyone is sent back to Duel Academy. All the jobbers that don't matter because they didn't come along. See, all the cool guys are back, except certain characters like Adrian, Echo, Zane, Bastion, and Jaden. They're all still gone.
Where's the Sarge, Cyrus?
Out there, among the stars.
And that right there, in the dub, is where the series ends. They just move on to 5Ds after this. Yep, Jaden fuses with Yubel and dies. Zane is dead. Bastion, I guess, is living with Tanya now, so he won. This has gone on long enough, and I kind of gave my thoughts while talking about this season, so I'll make this ending as abrupt as the dub did.
Chilling out with the crew in the schoolyard, finding trouble